presenting in our second track, Food Systems and Sustainable Agriculture. Next up will be a team from Vietnam, Shoes Agtech, represented by Miss Vũ Ngọc Ánh. And so, ladies and gentlemen, this I think is our first team from Vietnam, and so I hope that we can all have a little round of applause to welcome our next team, Shoes Agtech from Vietnam. Yes, and they will be presenting their idea on a next generation ultra-light farming robot that automates seeding, spraying, and fertilizing, reducing agricultural emissions up to 70%. And let's welcome Mr. Vũ Ngọc Ánh.
Hello everyone, my name is Anh. I'm the founder of Agtech. Today I'm honored to tell you about our sustainable innovation efforts for agriculture. You know, Vietnam is the top producer of rice and shrimp exporter in the world, with the values at about 370 billion US dollar. However, the methods of care is still mainly manual, which is very toxic environment and low productivity. 9 years ago, I made the first agricultural drone in Vietnam to tackle these issues. However, the drone needs a lot of battery and low precision of spraying due to wind. And the labor crisis is still persistent for now and the future. Using the drone for rice spraying, I recognize the rice grows in water and muddy conditions, and the farmer can slide on such field. The principal idea is that the polyphos is much lighter than the lifted force, and the drone lifts the total heavy weight of the vehicles, while our innovation just pulls very light drag. And ambush is a whole new concept. It's an ultralight robot constructed by multi-fault to slide on the surface of the field, and the multi-propeller to push the machine forward and steer. The whole machine is controlled by autonomous control system. Currently, we have S30 for rice care with seeding, fertilizing, and spraying, and ambush S60S for the spring farm, spraying, feeding, and water monitoring. Compared to the drone, we offer very competitive advantages. We reduce the CO2 emissions 70% to 97%, much lower operating cost, high precision of spraying with just half meter above the crops and none shipped by wind. 3 times more pilot, much longer battery life, and no need flight permit. During the market research, the farmer and cooperatives were introduced its features, and they are all easily understand its amazing product with high precision of spraying, broad seeding, 3-5 times battery life, and automation. Here we got the order to ambush and MOU with Lopter Group, which is the largest rice producer in Vietnam. They own 4,000 hectares and linked with 300,000 hectares in Vietnam. And for the spring, we finished the pilot project and making the industrial version for 2 distributors with a total of 20 units and 200 hectares involved. The market opportunities is 2 billion for rice version and 1.6 billion for sweet version, the solid product. The business models is B2B, which are pesticide, fertilizer, drone service company, and cooperatives, and do the service for the farmer. For the screen, we sell the products via distributors. The revenues come from maintenance, data analysis, and selling products. Currently, we have finished the automation of the ambush, and we keep going with the pilot project for rice version, and next year this will be upgraded to industrial version with the target of orders 10 units. For the screen, we just finished pilot project, and next year will be in scale phase with a 3 KPI from distributor, about 500 units and 2,500 hectares involved. The budget allocation to manpower, 1 billion, equipment for swim and rice, 3 billion, and operating expenses, 1 billion. It can cut 99% of CO2, reduce 70% to 97%, and save cost 64%, 90%, and increase productivity. We have a Maltese partner and investor from 144 from Singapore, Ethos from US, and IBIT from Vietnam. Meet our team. I have 20 years in aircraft drone design optimization from spin-off from university, and 7 years in startup. Ms. Ngunle have 18 years in market research and management. Our team engineer have more than 15 years in engineering. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for doing the presentations. And now the floor will open for our judges to engage with our team. Choose Agtech. Please, our judges. And okay, let's have Ms. Helena, please.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Can you share with us how do you change the behaviors of the farmer to adopt your technology? What incentive schemes do you design for them?
For the rice, we solve the pain point because the drone fly in the air and spray to the air. The chemical ship to other field. It cannot go directly to the crops. So our method can spray directly to crops just half meter above the crops. And for the swim, totally all of them use manually. They cannot spread out to the pond evenly. You know the extensive swim, we are the top #1 in the world. Extensive swim, different with industrial swim. Extensive swim, they have very big pond, like over 1 hectare. And they just supply more food and spraying for the swim. So they just supply means like 2 or 3 kilograms per hectare. It's very difficult to spread out evenly. And with that way, we increase the yield of them. Fortunately, we have the density of swim up to now just 1 or 2 units per meter square. In Indonesia, about 8 to 10 units per meter square. And we want to increase the densities of the swim, and we have the tools to help them to manage their pond and help them to manage the risk during their swim farming.
Can you share with us what's the strategy to expand the market beyond Vietnam? And what will be the adaptation will be necessary to address different agricultural contexts and regulatory regimes?
I'm sorry?
Can you share with us how do you expand beyond Vietnam?
No.
What will be the type of adaptation you need to address different cultural contexts as well as regulatory regime?
Currently, maybe the years after next year, we'll go to Indonesia and Thailand, which is very close to Vietnam market. And for the pain points, we think we try to focus on to upgrade the version to industrial level that we can transfer to our host in Thailand and Indonesia. For the swim, I think for extensive swim, the Thailand and Ecuador, which have much more bigger one. So I think the way they use the food and the way they use chemical probiotics, we have to study. But actually here, our team saw many problems with the spraying, feeding, the problem with the machine, problem with the material, and their habit. Of course, we have to study their habits, and almost quite similar because extensive swim and the rice are very basic for these countries. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And moving on to our next judge, Ms. Ching, please, from IBIT Ventures.
It's a little bit favorable for you because this is my portfolio company. Yeah, so yeah, we have talked so many times, and I'm still having a key question: what is the key driver of adoption? So what is the thing that farmers want to have by using your product, paying for your product?
Yeah, for the rice, we rent the license to the fertilizer pesticide company, and now we just signed a contract with like 1,000 hectares just yesterday, yeah, with another company in Kantur and Andian province, and they see how our method can save the cost. Compared to drone, we save the cost up to 70%. That means much less battery. Much less battery means they can earn more. For the farmer, I mean the end user, they love the way we spray because we spray directly on the crop. That pain point of the drone, and now we satisfied with that endpoint. For the swing, the people that have no way to spray evenly on the pond. And the robotics company, they love our technologies and help the people to spray the robotics to manage the water, and the water help the swim health very well and more year. So that's why when they see better yield, and they will use our one easily. But actually, we have a different distributor in different provinces in Vietnam, and they sell to them, and they sell to the farmers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Once again, right on time, congratulations on your presentations. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that was our 5th presentations of today. And now we are moving on to our last team in our second track. And this will be a collaborative effort between Vietnam and Singapore. And our next group is Aqua Products. And they will be presenting their ideas on decentralized marine bioeconomy platform, empowering 18 times more processors to turn seafood byproducts into premium nutrition ingredients. And with that, let's welcome Mr. Luis Torino Fiolo from Aqua Products. The stage is yours.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm Luis Torino, General Manager of Aqua Products in Vietnam, and I was lucky enough to meet these two guys that are the co-founders of Aqua Products that invested over 10 years of market research engineering work into a solution that transforms seafood waste into feed ingredients. So we are tackling very successful outcomes from the aquaculture industry in Vietnam, particularly in the region of the Mekong Delta. We can only maximize the value of the waste they are making if we condition and stabilize this waste before transporting, before processing it. So we built up 3 concepts, starting points. That is a decentralized processing. When we bring the material, we start processing this in the food processing plant. We standardize a quality for a final product that is a peptide mix beyond the regular protein, and we bring to the market a concept of a functional nutrition from animal resources. So right now, we have a flash drying system, uniquely designed and operated in Long Gun. This is a factory. This is a platform that we process not only shrimp or fish, but any paste that you need to convert into powder. Today, we are analyzing the opportunity to bring a pilot to be run into a single system installed in the food processing site that looks like only a tank, but in terms of design and technology, there's some probably IP involved into bringing this to the field. Today, this is already designed and put to test, and probably on the next 6 months, I will present the timeline here for you guys to understand. So, what we are fighting for today is to fall in the preference of nutritionists. They don't see the centralized or the decentralized model, but they are judging us on our capacity of production, on how much protein we are extracting, how much of that protein is actually available for the animal that eats it, and essentially our biological enzymatic process. This is a process that takes time, takes a specific cocktail of chemicals, and supported by the design of the pre-processing tank. So the timeline in Aqua Products is long. Aqua Products as an initiative started in 2014. Our factory in Vietnam is only 1 year old. But I ask you guys to focus on the deployment of this pilot we're bringing. This is a second stage for us, where we are building a partner network, and we started the talks with some food processors, most of them shrimp, but we are extending this to fish. We are finishing the prototype of the tank to be installed and creating a way to support these tanks operating remotely. So soon enough, the evaporators in my factory will be receiving this pre-processed paste into my most important raw material. And I will assure the collection of this raw material regularly from a telematics system. From the end of 2026 on, it's all about the rollout of this model to my factory in Long An or to a second factory somewhere else in Vietnam. Today, we operate with 3 products: Peptitone, Peptisound, and Peptimar. This adds a layer of service to what we are doing. And we are bringing a different way to understand cost efficiency for the drying system, capturing some carbon equivalents, but most of the time we are talking about nitrogen pollution. These are the funds we designed for this deployment phase. We have the engineering prototype design. We have our first seafood processor signed with us. We're bringing a formulations and preservatives cocktails to its maximum potential for degradation of protein. And we want to catalyze this with our remote solution. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Aqua Products. Please come in next stage. Okay, we might be done with the presentations, but that was only halfway. And now let's go ahead with our Q&A from our judges. And first up, questions for Aqua Products. Please, Mr. Jeniken.
So you started the project from 2014 until now?
Yes.
Okay, so with your 10 years experience looking at this space, how would you assess and strategically secure the feedstocks, especially in Vietnam? Strategically. It's a bit of a deja vu for me because, this is what happened to the used cooking oil turning into SAF. It was too hot to the point that, the companies were complaining the used cooking oil at some point was even more expensive than the newly manufactured cooking oil. Please.
So the project started actually in Surabaya, Indonesia, by when Francois and Thomas arrived there and understood the scene of the shrimp industry there and understood how they could maximize the value from the shrimp processing industry. So when they came to Asia with the project, they had target paste as a product. And this product ended up being very hard to stabilize and very difficult to follow in the preference of nutritionists. Nutritionists that work in females are tough people to convince. And sometimes the expectations they have towards the raw materials in Southeast Asia can be very expensive to meet. So Vietnam, in this 10 years, aquaculture Vietnam, aquaculture in Mekong Delta, evolved so fast that we decided to go the decentralized way, which is not the model initially in Indonesia. So we brought the solution to Long An to make a powder. And the powder is a key step in this, because the acceptance of powders in the nutrition industry, it's broadly accepted. It's much easier to do this. So that's the catch, but essentially it has to do with the growth of the aquaculture industry in the Mekong Delta.
So it was not really answering my question. The question is, how do you get enough of the shrimp waste or fish waste? Have you assessed it? How would you go about it? Really strategically secure enough of supply?
Yeah, today we are importing it. So we're bringing this shrimp waste from Indonesia, from the factory we once assembled in Indonesia. But we are rolling out this product to capture this from the food processors in the Mekong Delta. So essentially, it will come from our neighbors in Taining province. Make sense?
I'm surprised. that you have to import shrimp waste from Indonesia for Vietnam market?
I don't import shrimp waste. I import a hydrolyzed waste.
I understand.
Yeah, the waste it's a raw material. I don't transport waste. At all times, I will be transporting a raw material.
Thank you very much for your passionate answer. And now, please, our second judge, Mr. Robert Chung, please. Mic for our judge.
Okay, hi, Bruce. I don't want to miss the opportunity to compliment your outfit as well, just in the spirit of fairness.
Took me a while. This doesn't happen so often when you are in the feed industry. Thank you.
But Luis, very interesting presentation. A couple of points. I want to understand the technology behind your model. Can you elaborate a little bit about that technology, which is the so-called the secret sauce?
I put attention here in the bioenzymatic reactions to stabilize the protein degradation. Okay, this is about acidification. This is about timing and the use of enzymes inside a mixing tank that separates solids from paste.
You already have a working model. Why did you mention just now that you're doing a pilot in Vietnam? Is this something very different that you did tweak it to suit the market?
For this tank, it's very unique. Okay. Yes, this tank that we will position in the food processor side is very unique. But today, what we have working in Longan, it's a flash dryer. So this was a dryer designed, conceived in the boards, and probably, I don't think there is another dryer like that in Vietnam, to heat the product at 380 degrees and process it very fast to make a very thin powder. We have a few samples in our corner there. I'll be happy to share.
My next question is the economics of your model, because you coming into Vietnam, like any market entry, is going to be very challenging with the end off-takers, right? So how do you manage the end off-takers that they're prepared to pay for your product?
Yeah, there is a pet food industry. It's a very inviting market today in Vietnam. More and more we see pet food people, pet food snacks. Can I continue?
Unfortunately, we are out of time for our Q&A. So, judges, yes? Do you allow for him to finish his answers, or should we wrap it up? What do you think?
Well, we can talk after in the corner.
Yes, of course. We will have a 15 minutes.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes, we have a brief for all of our amazing ideas about participating teams outside, and we will have a 15 minutes break after our track 3 presentations. So please, you can ask them directly, get to know more about their brilliant ideas. All right, and I think that it has been a true pleasure to witness the passion and the purpose behind all of our team's work. And